Okay, so this Saturday, all eyes really in the boxing world are turning towards Tottenham on Hotspur Stadium.
Hmm.
It's the big one. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. And look, there's a real edge to this one, isn't there? It's live on Spy Sports box office too.
Absolutely, a proper rivalry feel. And uh, right from the weigh-in yesterday, we saw that, didn't we? That intensity.
We really did. Talk us through that.
Well, Eubank Jr., he came in just a touch over the middleweight limit, 160.05 pounds.
Right, just fractionally over that 160 mark.
Exactly. And, middleweight, that signifies a certain size, a certain power level.
Yeah.
But then you look at Ben.
Yeah.
He's moving up from welterweight, remember. His last fight was around, what, 10 stone 10? So maybe 147 pounds-ish.
Okay, quite a jump then.
Big jump. And he weighed in comfortably under at 156.4 pounds. So, that difference on the scales itself, it kind of tells a story already.
It really does. And the whole the weigh-in actually happened seemed a bit odd too. Ben arrived first, okay,
Yeah.
standard enough. But then this 50-minute wait before Eubank showed up. And the really weird bit, no cameras allowed for his first attempt on the scales.
Yeah, that definitely raised a few eyebrows.
What does that signal to you, that lack of transparency?
Well, it certainly hints, doesn't it? It hints at a potential struggle behind the scenes. Usually, if a fighter asks for no cameras, it means there's a concern they might miss weight.
Okay.
And they'd rather, sort that out privately before the official cameras roll. It just adds to this feeling that maybe Eubank is finding middleweight difficult.
And, well, that feeling proved right, didn't it? He was initially over, had to go away, shed that little bit extra.
Did?
And the price for that, a reported £375,000 penalty paid from Eubank to Ben.
Oof, that's hefty.
It is. But crucially, the fight is still on. It's fascinating, isn't it, how these penalties can sometimes just keep things moving, even with potential weight issues.
Oh, absolutely. It really highlights the business side of things, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And, the commitment to getting this fight, which so many people want to see, actually delivered.
definitely.
But the weight drama, it doesn't actually stop there.
Oh.
There's also this 10-pound rehydration clause. So between 8 and 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, fight day morning,
Right.
neither fighter can weigh more than 170 pounds.
Ah, okay.
Mm.
So they weigh in Friday, then have another check Saturday morning. Why do they do that?
Well, these clauses are becoming sort of more common.
Mm-hmm.
It's to try and ensure a fairer fight, really.
Yeah.
Stop fighters cutting huge amounts of weight and then piling it all back on, maybe gaining a massive unfair advantage by fight night.
Gotcha. So it levels the playing field a bit on the night itself.
Exactly. And if Eubank misses this second check-in,
Mm-hmm.
there's another financial penalty waiting for him. Again, no sign the fight would be off, but
Yeah.
more money.
Wow. So this rehydration limit, that sounds like it could be particularly tough for Eubank, right? Given he was already, pushing it to make 160 pounds. Restricting how much he can refuel and rehydrate after that initial weigh-in, that could really impact him come Saturday night.
It could be a real challenge, yeah.
Mm.
Whereas for Ben, who's naturally the smaller guy anyway,
Adding 10 pounds is probably not such a big deal for him.
likely not as taxing, no.
Mm.
Moving up in weight, it means facing bigger guys, obviously, but it can also let a fighter feel healthier, maybe perform better, because they haven't done such an extreme cut.
Sure.
But the flip side is, can they handle the heavier shots coming back? In this case, Ben might actually feel stronger, healthier at this slightly higher weight,
Yeah.
while Eubank could potentially be a bit depleted from the cut and restricted in his recovery.
Yeah, Eubank himself has said making middleweight isn't exactly fun, especially he mentioned with this rehydration limit hitting his recovery. And you compare that to Ben, last fighting around 147 pounds, facing someone who could be close to 170 pounds when they actually step in the ring. That's a significant difference.
It is.
It really makes you wonder. I mean, could Eubank actually miss that Saturday morning weight check too?
It's a really valid question. I mean, the financial hit is huge, obviously.
You'd think that's enough deterrent.
You would, but you can't underestimate the physical toll. Making weight twice, basically, in such a short window, if he was already struggling, restricting again could be genuinely problematic.
Ben's promoter, Eddie Hearn, seems pretty confident Eubank will make it, though. He was emphasizing those financial consequences. Didn't give a number, but said it was enough to make you not want to do it.
Yeah, Hearn's pushing that angle. The pressure is definitely on Eubank for that Saturday morning scale.
Absolutely. So, yeah, high stakes all around. It just adds another layer of, intrigue to the whole thing.
It really does. You've got the natural weight difference anyway, and now it's compounded by these apparent difficulties Eubank's having with the limits.
And just quickly, for anyone wanting to soak up the pre-fight atmosphere, there's the ceremonial weigh-in tonight.
Ah, yes, the face-offs.
Exactly. Final face-off between Eubank and Benn, plus all the undercard fighters will be there. It's streaming live on Sky Sports. Apparently, things got pretty heated at the press conference yesterday. Security had to step in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So tonight's face-off could be intense. Sometimes you get a real glimpse into their mindset just before the fight in those moments.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's that last chance for any psychological games, isn't it? Before the bell goes. You can read a lot into the body language then.
For sure. So, just to recap the main event, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. Live this Saturday, April 26th, Sky Sports box office. This weigh-in drama has certainly set the stage.
It really has. Yeah, the challenges Eubank's faced on the scales have just amplified all the questions around this fight.
Okay, let's pivot slightly then. Let's talk predictions for the fight itself. Tony Bellew, former world champ, knows his stuff. He's been quite vocal.
Bellew, yeah. Always good value. He's very forthright, isn't he? Insightful, too. He tends to call it as he sees it, understands the fighter's perspective.
Well, his initial prediction was pretty definitive. He said he thinks Conor Benn wins it inside the first 6 rounds.
Wow, okay. 6 rounds.
Yeah. And described the win as being brutal and vicious. That's some statement about Benn's power, especially moving up. What makes Bellew think that, do you reckon, considering Eubank's known for having a pretty solid chin?
Bellew's probably looking at Benn's speed, his aggression, that explosive power he carries. Ben starts fast, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He looks at those openings early.
He does.
And maybe against an Eubank who could be, potentially weight trained from everything we've discussed.
Yeah.
Bellew might think those early attacks could be really, really effective. Land something big.
Makes sense. But Bellew did also raise, sort of, the flip side of that coin. The big question, especially with Benn moving up, can he keep that fitness, that intensity, going for a full 12 rounds?
Crucial question.
Against a naturally bigger guy like Eubank, who often finishes strong. That's a legitimate concern, right? Moving up can sap your stamina.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the classic worry when someone jumps up in weight. And Eubank, he's shown he can take shots and keep working, keep pressing late in fights. So can Ben sustain that high-energy, high-output style against someone bigger? Someone who might try and wear him down.
It's the key, isn't it? Ben's response, though, when Bellew put that to him, was pretty confident, just straight up. I can do it for 12 rounds.
Well, he has to say that, doesn't he?
True, but you need that belief, stepping into the unknown like this.
Oh, absolutely. That mental strength, believing in your conditioning, it's massive. But, saying it and doing it in the ring against a tough, durable opponent, different ballgame.
Totally. And that exchange led Bellew to make an even bolder statement, actually.
Oh, yeah.
He said if Ben can maintain a really high punch volume, he threw out a number like 100 punches around with serious intensity, then Bellew reckons, quote, you won't lose a single round then.
Wow. 100 punches around with intensity for 12 rounds. That's a huge ask.
It's a massive ask, right? To keep that pace up against someone like Eubank for the whole fight, that would be incredible.
It really speaks to what Bellew sees as Ben's ideal path to victory, though. Just overwhelming Eubank, relentless pressure, never letting him settle or use that size. It shows Bellew's belief in Ben's potential, but yeah, acknowledges how tough that strategy is to actually pull off.
Exactly. It kind of highlights the 2 main schools of thought for how Ben wins this. One is he needs that early finish, get it done before the weight difference. Eubank's toughness maybe starts to tell in the later rounds.
The classic puncher needing to land early against the durable boxer.
Yeah, maybe amplified by the weight situation here. Can Ben's speed and power just overwhelm Eubank before the size and experience kick in later on?
That's the absolute million-dollar question hanging over this fight, isn't it? Does Ben have the engine, the resilience at this new weight to handle Eubank's natural advantages if it goes deep?
But Bellew, ultimately, he's landed on a specific outcome. His final prediction is very clear. Conor Benn wins inside the first 5 rounds.
5 rounds now. He's getting more specific.
Yeah, he thinks Ben will catch him and nail him and jump all over him. That phrasing suggests Bellew sees Ben imposing his will very early, landing something significant and just not letting Eubank off the hook.
Right. Before Eubank gets a chance to settle, use his size, maybe weather that early storm.
Exactly.
It's a bold call. It speaks volumes about Bellew's confidence in Ben's power and his ability to just, seize the moment right from the start. He clearly thinks Ben's best, maybe only, chance is that quick, decisive finish.
So with all this swirling around, you've got the weight issues, the penalties, the rehydration clause, these contrasting styles, and then Bellew's very confident prediction for an early Ben KO.
Yeah.
It leaves us, and you listening, with a really fascinating question.
Mm-hmm.
What factor do you think is going to be the most decisive here? Is it going to be Ben's speed, his power, maybe overwhelming a potentially compromised Eubank early? Or does that size difference, Eubank's experience, his durability, does that ultimately prove too much for the natural welterweight as the fight wears on?
It's perfectly poised, isn't it? So many variables.
It really is. It's shaping up to be a genuinely compelling night of boxing on Saturday. We'll definitely be watching closely to see how it all plays out.